considered, part of the wealthy, relatively speaking. My husband and I did well in our careers. We were both professionals. We made good money. We were able to educate our kids. We have a home, and a second vacation home, and we did well. And I was just really sort of curious about my effective tax rate. So on my 2011 return, I looked to see how much tax I paid as a percent of my income, 13.5%. Now that's what Mitt Romney paid, and I don't make near the money that Mitt Romney has, but at the same time, I'm not sure how fair that is. As a country, I believe we all rise and fall together. I have 2 adult children who are raising young families. They each have 2 children. They pay a higher effective tax rate than I do. And they need the help at this stage of their life more than I do as a retiree. I'm happy to help them, but I want them to have the dignity of being able to stand on their own 2 feet. I want my community to be a place where they can raise their children and feel good about it and have all the benefits that my children had when they were growing up. And if our small businesses do well, if our, my fellow community members do well, then our whole community does well. And, taking $2,000 out of people's pockets just because they're having an argument about whether the wealthy should pay more, which, we should, we can fuss about the tax rate. There are things that are important to our communities, our parks, our schools, you go on and on. But there's a cost for that, and all I'm asking for is that we all pay our fair share. We can debate what's important and what the government needs to pay for, but in the end, when we decide as a nation what's important to our nation, then we all need to know that there's a cost, and we know we all need to pay our fair share. So that's why I'm into this.
Oh, I heard Holly told me.
Did she? Oh, yes.
She told me something you guys didn't actually do. Bye. Seeing you.
Now, and you're from Monteagle?
I am. And I am technically not in Representative Black's district. I am in Representative Desjardins' district.
Right.
And I did visit his office last week, but I just couldn't resist the
But you
chance
didn't
to
see
be here.
him.
I didn't see him, but we saw his legislative director.
I'm the same way. I'm in Desjardins district
But
right
you're
now.
gonna be in.
But I will be in Congressman Women's Black's district in January. And I wanted to let her know that we weren't happy with the way she's doing right now. And that her small business statements about small business owners are not really accurate as far as I see. I think that small business owners would be the 93% of us who do not make over $250,000 a year would be glad for the middle class to have that $2,000 in their pockets so that they could go out and spend it locally with the mom and pop owners in our small towns. The rich people, over 2%, the greater 2%, they don't need the tax cuts, and they don't have small businesses per se. They have hedge funds and they have stock portfolios, which is great, and I'm happy for them. That's what America is all about. But the small business owners also need the tax break. And virtually, when I looked here in Tennessee, there are very few legitimate small businesses that make over $250,000 a year.
What was your name?
Donna Seeley.
And what do you do, Donna?
I'm a nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner.
D-O-N-N-A.
S-E-E-L-Y.
And what do you do as a volunteer?
I see patients in a free medical clinic in Tullahoma, Partners for Healing. This is for the working uninsured. And these are folks who work for a living, but yet have no health care and come to see us to try to get health care and for us to take care of their chronic conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, things like that.
I got it. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Sam with the Daily News Journal in Murfreesboro. They need to sell those papers. Donna, do you mind to tell us some of the problems that you see specifically with your patients that are working but they don't have health insurance?
What I see is that they're not able to afford their medications. We attempt to get them their medications through patient assistance programs, but they can't even afford the $4 meds that you get from the local drugstores. We see hypertension, diabetes that's not been left untreated for many years, and so they have complications from the diabetes. I had a patient that lost a toe just this week. I see patients who are diagnosed with serious illnesses like cancer, who have delays in getting treatment because they don't have the money to get into a facility and get the treatment that they need. I had a patient that was diagnosed with cancer last December and just recently in November was able to get this surgery he needed. By then the cancer had spread and he had to go on and get secondary radioactive treatments to help with that. If he had been able to get the surgery sooner, that may not have occurred. I see people who have hepatitis D who need treatment and cannot get treatment. I see people who have hernias that need repair and who could probably work at a better paying job but can't due to their hernias. Just simple things like that that could be taken care of could actually get them back in the workforce again.
Is there anything else you want to say?
That I'm here mostly as a voice for my patients. They don't have time to come to rallies. They don't have time to go to Washington. They're too busy working to get food on the table and to get their homes heated. And I don't feel like that they're heard in Washington. I think that money talks, and these folks do not have money. The first thing I hear politicians in Washington say is we need to cut entitlements. And I don't look at them as entitlements. I look at them, entitlement isn't a dirty word, by the way. It means a benefit earned. And so I think we're going to have to start calling things like that earned benefits, because all of us who work contribute to our Social Security, we contribute to our Medicare benefits, and to make it sound like we're getting something for nothing is just incorrect and wrong. And I believe that all of us stand together, and I stand by my neighbors, and I speak and hope to help my neighbors and give them a hand.
Thank you, Donna.
Would you say that it's that Medicare and Social Security is a purchased insurance plan where you expect to get the end product of what you purchased?
Yes, in a word, yes. Those are benefits that have been put in place by previous Congresses, and I don't want this Congress to renege on that or to change the benefits. They are the ones that took money out of these funds and used it for other purposes when they should not have, and that is why we're in the trouble we are in now. And I think that they need to look at other places in the budget to make cuts. I think we all understand that we can't continue going with these trillion-dollar deficits. The point is that Social Security and Medicare should not be used as scare tactics for people to make the budget meet, the ends meet.
I took a close look at Social Security is currently operating with an excess, and that excess will continue out for quite a ways into the future. Then if you take a look at Medicare, Medicaid, and all that whole thing, it's broken up into 4 different segments. Most of the segments are not in a deficit. Only, I believe, one of those is, and it's only a small percentage. So cutting the whole thing would push the burden of paying for this medical care back on all consumers, because the people are going to still go to the emergency room, they're still going to get care, but the cost is going to be pushed off onto the consumers. But rather than taking that, covering that 1 or 2% that we're short of covering it now.
Well, I agree, and I think that we as consumers are paying for the lack of insurance for the 30 million people in our country that do not have health care. People say, oh, they can go to the emergency room and get care. Well, I see patients that go to the emergency room. They are stabilized and they are put back out home. They do not get
the cost of that still goes back on
us who have insurance, because when we go to the hospital, our insurance is charged for those folks that have no insurance. So we're the ones that are paying the cost of that by our health insurance premiums. Plus, the folks that don't have insurance, it's a tiered type of care. If you have insurance, you get the gold platinum care. If you have Medicaid or Medicare, you might get the platinum care. If you have no insurance, you essentially get no care.
So rather than the current problem of us contributing a 1 or 2% more to their medical care, we'll be picking up the whole tab. If they eliminate Medicare and Medicaid, we'll be picking up the whole tab.
Yes, I don't think
through our own increased medical cost and increased insurance payments.
Yeah. I don't think that they will eliminate Medicare or Medicaid. I think what I've read that they're thinking of doing, besides increasing the age where you become eligible to 67, I think that they are going to start charging you more. You pay a premium per month, and they'll start charging you $25 more per month for that. They'll start charging you more for co-pays and things like that. So that's what's going to happen.